this change. That's my view. Joining us now is Jude Eden. She's a female Marine Iraq war vet, served in the combat zone, who has written really interesting stuff on the women in combat issue. She joins us now. She wrote a piece for LifeZet, Women in Combat, Bad Idea, just published a few days ago on LifeZet.com. A lot of great stuff up on LifeZet now, and she joins us now. Jude, first of all, thank you for your service to this country, first and foremost. Merry Christmas, all that jazz, and thanks for being with us. Ash Carter announced the change in policy with a lot of fanfare. A lot of the feminists are celebrating today, thinking, well, finally we've crossed this Rubicon, and women are going to be able to be in these positions in the special forces and so forth. But what practically are we looking at when it comes to women in these forward operating combat roles? Tell us what we're facing.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. And, this has never been about just a couple of women who may be able and want to do this. The problem with repealing the whole combat exemption for women is what is happening now and what people are only just starting to open their eyes to, which is that this now opens all active duty women to this involuntary assignment to these units on the same basis as men, and constitutionally was the only thing standing between all of America's young, able-bodied women and the draft. Now, some people think, oh, well, you asked for it, now you got it, that's all fair and equal. And that might be the case if direct ground combat were an equal opportunity endeavor, and it simply isn't. Even if a couple of women are able to make the men's and infantry standards, they still carry with them a myriad of additional and higher risks than their male counterparts. No matter how strong, they're at a disadvantage against hand-to-hand combat with men who want to kill them, like ISIS. These guys are on methamphetamines, not just ISIS, but our guys have been dealing with this since 2003 in Iraq. Guys on methamphetamines, making them 10 times harder to kill even for the men. But hand-to-hand combat, that's not a relic of Vietnam. If you get to know some of the guys, infantry guys who have been there in Iraq and Afghanistan, if you read their accounts, they're telling their stories about, the ammo ran out, the gun jammed, they were going house to house. This is killing on the ground. It's not the same as, I stood checkpoint duty. I was on the outskirts with the infantry convoying back and forth on the ground. There are female combat pilots. This is not,
I was with some of them. Yeah, I was with some of them in Iraq in 2006. They're amazing, incredibly talented women. And they're in danger, but you're right, they're not going the kick in the door in, throwing the the flash grenade in, and then going door to door to clear it out. That's not what the women are doing. That takes a special sense of strength and a special ability to get out of a bad situation. I'm not saying no woman could do this, but as a blanket policy, this seems like it opens up all sorts of problems to me.
Right, exactly. It's not, if it were an equal opportunity for women, it would make sense to do that. But we didn't have to repeal the combat exemption to utilize our rock star females. We could address rank. These women want to be the Joint Chiefs of Staff. We could address that without, subjecting all women to this, unequal proposition. The other thing is, the averages for military women matter because now they have to. There already are quotas. General Dempsey in the original announcement said, quote, "We must have a sufficient number of women entering these fields and already assigned in leadership positions to these units." That's a quota. Loretta Sanchez from California already tried to put into law through the NDAA 20% more gender-based quotas for the military. It's not average women who get twice the injuries. It's military women, before they even are talking about men's standards, get an average of more than twice the injuries of men. That is adding a liability, because now, if you have that, then these women in these units, they're likely to have to be replaced at much higher rates. And then we're going to have to pull from, the Army pulled its enlisted women, and 92.5 of them said We don't want to be assigned to combat units, and there are similar polls for the Marine Corps. They're going to have to pull from those women that want to. That's why repealing the policy is foolish, in addition to the fact that we don't need women in the combat units. They do not bring the strength and stamina and brute force, and that's what we need the most of in the infantry. For the Marine Corps' 9-month integration testing, the women who volunteered for that, 100 women, they were top performers. They had made the men's minimum standards. They had gone through the enlisted infantry training, yet and still the rate of injury was still just as high. It's going to be more so. And they underperformed against men on 69% of 134 combat tasks. I mean, that's a catastrophic amount.
That is unreal. I mean, I'm sure you saw the 60 Minutes report. This was, I guess, maybe 6 months ago. I think we played snippets on the show, and I think this was it the first woman trying to become a member of was it Special Forces or some, but you wouldn't be in a combat role. I think it was in some type of Special Forces training, and I think 2 women came close to making it through or made it through. Do you know what I'm talking about, the report I saw on 60 Minutes? I
didn't see that.
It was fascinating. But they went through the physical requirements for and I believe it was for Special Forces or Marine Corps. It was Marine Corps boot camp. I can't remember what it was, but it was staggering. I feel like I'm in good shape, and I'm a little older now, but I feel like in my heyday I could have done some of that, but I don't even know if I could have done all of it. But my concern is, and I talked to the other day, and you'll love this, Jude. I actually spoke with a Marine Corps admiral about this the other night. He's an unbelievable guy, just phenomenal person. And anyway, I don't want to reveal who it is because then I'll really get in trouble. But I said, Admiral, you have to be against this. And he said, oh, no. I said, what? He said, and he's former Navy SEAL. Or Navy SEAL. And he said, oh, no, as long as, hey, if you can do the work, you can do the work. You can pass the test, and would love to have you. And I said,
no,
wait,
it's much more than that.
Yeah, so give us some clarity on that.
Well, first of all, women are higher value targets to this enemy. I'm pointing this out constantly. And there's no mitigation for that. We're not going to change our enemy's mind and say, well, look, we've passed our diversity quota, so you guys just need to recognize, we are higher value for propaganda. They know that we value our women as a society, and it's how demoralizing it is for men in the units, and that much more to society in general to capture and torture. This is, imagine your daughter in a cage fight with ISIS with no ref and no rules, and they're on methamphetamines, as I was mentioning earlier. It's not just, and like I said about those female Marines, those top performers making all the standards, going through the enlisted infantry training, and still not being able to perform at the level of men. Even where they could perform some of the same tasks, they couldn't perform them with the same speed and power, and this kind of difference makes it's life and death. And even if it were a 5% difference, that would be plenty to justify maintaining the combat exemption. But 69% of tasks, and I would argue that our Marines, our females, they're the best of the best. I would put them against, any other females in any other branch in the world.
Yeah, we need you to be on Capitol Hill testifying. We want to run you for office. You're, first of all, really smart, really methodical, presented this issue so clearly for all of us to understand. And your piece was great, Women in Combat, Bad Idea on lifeset.com. Jude Eden, Marine Iraq war vet, we really appreciate your service to this country. We love our Marine Corps. We love all of our military men and women, our veterans. But Jude comes out and speaks so forthrightly about this issue with our country's best interests at heart. Thank you so much. Jude Eden on The Laura Ingraham Show.
The Laura Ingraham Show.